This is Laura. I don't know if you know anything about her, but I mean, I want to go through the list of conspiracy theorists. But we thought this would be a good week to get the audience to know her a little better. My biggest fear is immigrants taking my job as a right-wing hate monger. I don't hate all brown people, just the brown ones. For example, my spirit animal was eaten by Haitians. Breaking news. Comedian tells a joke. Trump supporters lose their minds. In a shocking turn of events, Bill Maher's latest zinger about Trump and Laura Loomer has caused mass hysteria in MAGA land. We've got everything from calls to boycott HBO to a $150 million lawsuit. That's about as solid as a chocolate teapot. Want to know how a simple joke became the talk of the town? Keep watching. So what's the deal with Bill Maher's joke that got Trump's tighty-whities in a twist? Picture this. Bill Maher doing his thing on his show, cracking jokes left and right. As a child, I had 2 of my Bratz dolls deported. My hobby is refurbishing vintage lawn jockeys. People think I'm all in on Trump, but some of the voices in my head, like Jill Stein, I think Michael Jackson faked the moonwalk. You know, just another day at the office for our favorite political comedian. Then out of nowhere, he drops this zinger about Trump being so desperate, he might marry Laura Loomer. At first, crickets. Nobody batted an eye. I mean, come on, it's Bill Maher we're talking about. The guy who makes a living roasting politicians like they're chestnuts on an open fire. But then something weird happened. It's like the joke took a moment to sink in, like when you tell a joke to your grandpa and he needs a minute to process it. Suddenly, boom! Total meltdown in MAGA land. Trump's loyal army of supporters started losing their minds faster than you can say CFE. Social media lit up like a Christmas tree covered in red MAGA hats. It was as if Bill Maher had personally insulted each and every one of Trump's followers. But here's the kicker. What did Bill Maher actually say about Trump and Laura Loomer? Well, it turns out it was just a little jab, a tiny poke, a microscopic needle in the haystack of political commentary. But in Trump world, that's all it takes to cause a big ouchie. Who knew they were so sensitive? Fantastic woman. A true patriot, Laura Loomer. Laura. Thank you, Laura. Every damn day we see another story about illegal aliens going to the Ritz-Carlton. Illegal aliens getting free flights. Illegal aliens getting free clothes and free cell phones. And someone's going to snap. Kamala Harris gets elected as President of the United States. We are going to have an Islamic caliphate in this country. It's like watching a bunch of kids playing musical chairs. But instead of chairs, it's their feelings that keep getting hurt. 1 minute, everything's fine. And the next, they're all crying. Crying because someone made a joke about their favorite orange-tinted superhero. And let's not forget about Laura Loomer herself. She took the joke like a champ. If by champ, we mean someone who threatens to sue faster than Trump can tweet fake news. It's like she heard marriage and Trump in the same sentence and thought, this is my chance to shine. Meanwhile, poor Melania is probably somewhere wondering if she should be offended or relieved. I mean, imagine being so forgettable that comedians are already joking about your husband's next wife. Talk about a blow to the ego. But here's the real punchline. While everyone's losing their minds over a joke, the country's got bigger fish to fry. It's like we're all passengers on the Titanic, arguing about the color of the deck chairs, while the ship's sinking. But hey, at least we're laughing, right? Melania Trump has been in the news a lot lately. I was talking about her in the monologue, and she's on the cover of Us Weekly with this cover, My Side of the Story. All the stars do it. Tim Gunn has done it. He'll be out here in a minute. And I did it. It's practically a rite of passage. In Slovenia, I was a catalogue model. which is what you call a model you order out of a catalog. I have no first language. I hope I inspire little girls everywhere to marry for money. Remember when comedians could make fun of politicians without causing an international incident? Well, those days are gone, folks. Bill Maher's little quip about Trump and Laura Loomer somehow morphed into the comedy equivalent of treason. It's like the MAGA crowd suddenly forgot how to take a joke. The right-wing media machine went into overdrive, treating Maher's joke like it was a serious attack on their orange overlord. It was as if Maher had personally insulted their grandmas and stolen their MAGA hats. I copied this list from Michelle Obama. Sometimes, when I bounce light off my diamond, Donald's hair will chase it like a cat. I wish I knew why I have a recurring dream. I'm pinned beneath a giant orange sack of art, and if I could tell my younger self just one thing, it would be this. If you catch a leprechaun and he gives you one wish, be more specific. You'd think he'd leaked some top secret documents or something, not just cracked a joke on his show, and boy did it spread. It was like watching a virtual game of telephone, but instead of whispering, everyone was shouting at the top of their lungs. Twitter threads popped up faster than Trump's excuses, each one longer and angrier than the last. Facebook posts rivaled War and Peace in length, but with more typos and less coherent plot. And don't even get me started on the YouTube comments sections. It was a hot mess of capital letters and exclamation points with enough conspiracy theories to make even the most dedicated tinfoil hat enthusiast blush. In the middle of all this chaos, Bill Maher was probably sitting back and wondering how his little joke turned into this three-ring circus of outrage. He must have felt like a guy who accidentally set off fireworks in his backyard and ended up starting a neighborhood-wide panic about an alien invasion. But here's the kicker. While most of Trump's loyal followers were busy sharpening their pitchforks and planning their HBO boycotts, no more Game of Thrones reruns for the MAGA crowd. A few of them were starting to get a bit uncomfortable. Turns out, some of Trump's supporters were worried that all this fuss might make them look a tad unstable. Imagine that. These folks were actually concerned that Laura Loomer's lawsuit against Maher might be giving the MAGA movement a bad name, as if their reputation needed any help in that department. It's like worrying about a few more stains on an already tie-dyed shirt. But hey, at least they're showing some self-awareness, right? Baby steps. People, baby steps. There we have it. A simple joke that turned into a full-blown MAGA meltdown, complete with threats of lawsuits, calls for boycotts, and enough angry social media posts to fill the Library of Congress. All because a comedian dared to poke fun at their beloved leader. It's almost like they forgot that Trump himself built his entire brand on insulting people. But I guess when you're dishing it out, you don't expect to have to take it, huh? And speaking of dishing it out, guess who couldn't resist jumping into this comedy fight? Our favorite orange-tinted Twitter addict himself. But wait, there's a twist that'll make you snort laugh harder than a pig in mud. Remember how Trump used to fire off tweets faster than a toddler on a sugar high? Well, folks, times have changed. Our ex-president had to settle for Truth Social to air his grievances. It's like watching a grumpy grandpa try to use Snapchat filters. Political experts pointed out that Trump's reaction this time was different. He wasn't just mad. He was annoyed. Like really annoyed. It seems Maher's joke struck a nerve deeper than Trump's spray tan. Now you might think the king of insults would have a witty comeback ready, but Trump's response was about as sharp as a rubber duck. He called Maher a low IQ individual. Wow, Donald. Did you stay up all night thinking of that zinger? It's like he's got a magic 8-ball of insults, and it always lands on low IQ. Maybe he should shake it a little harder next time. But here's the real kicker. Trump had to use Truth Social instead of Twitter. It's like using a megaphone in an empty room. Can you imagine the man who built his brand on insulting people? 280 characters at a time is now shouting into the void. It's like watching a mime perform in a soundproof booth. Lots of gestures, but nobody's listening. And let's talk about that thin skin of his. Trump's reaction to a comedian's joke was like watching a balloon animal try to survive a cactus garden. He puffed up, he squeaked, and then he deflated faster than his hairdo in a rainstorm. It's almost endearing how he can't take a joke. Almost. But why was Trump so bothered this time? Maybe it's because he's used to being the one dishing out the insults, not taking them. Or maybe it's because deep down, he knows there's a grain of truth in every joke. Either way, it's clear that our former commander-in-chief is about as thick-skinned as a jellyfish in a sandstorm. The whole situation is like watching a reality TV show, except the star doesn't realize the cameras are rolling. Trump's trying to maintain his tough guy image, but he's coming across more like a toddler who just had his favorite toy taken away. It's almost enough to make you feel sorry for the guy. Almost. Well, folks, it looks like the comedy circus just got a new ringmaster, and her name is Loomer. Remember when we thought Trump was the king of overreaction? Well, move over, Donald, because Loomer is coming for your crown with a lawsuit so big it could probably buy a small country. So what's got Loomer's panties in such a twist? Apparently,